Welcome back to GameVault HQ. Today, we're diving into Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown, Mask of Darkness, a DLC expansion that builds on the core game and gives players a fresh challenge. If you're already familiar with The Lost Crown, this new adventure will feel familiar, but with a few new twists to keep things interesting. Let's get right into it. From the moment you jump in, the DLC wastes no time getting you back into the thick of it. It's clear this content is aimed at players who've already mastered the main game and are looking for something more challenging. The pacing is faster, throwing you into tricky platforming sections and tougher combat encounters from the start. If you enjoyed the original game's balance of movement and fighting, Mask of Darkness doesn't disappoint. A key feature of this DLC is the introduction of a new gameplay mechanic tied to the mask itself. Without giving too much away, this new ability adds a layer of strategy that fits smoothly into the existing gameplay. It doesn't feel like a gimmick. Instead, it enhances the parkour and combat in a way that keeps things feeling fresh. You'll find yourself constantly adapting your moves as you take on more complex puzzles and more aggressive enemies. Speaking of puzzles, expect a bump in difficulty. Mask of Darkness doesn't hold your hand. It assumes you've already gotten a handle on the game's mechanics and pushes you to use them in more creative ways. The platforming sections are tighter and require more precise timing, making the sense of accomplishment even greater when you nail those tricky sequences. Combat has a similar feel. While the enemies aren't wildly different from what you faced before, they're tougher, forcing you to mix up your attacks and defensive moves. Visually, Mask of Darkness shifts to a darker, more atmospheric tone. The environments are rich in detail, but they feel more ominous than the main game. You'll be navigating through shadowy ruins and dimly lit caverns, where the lighting plays a huge role in building tension. The mood is definitely heavier, and it helps set the tone for the more challenging gameplay. There's a real sense of danger in every level, which keeps you engaged and on edge. The story isn't the main focus of this DLC. While it adds some extra lore and backstory to the world of The Lost Crown, it's not going to be the thing that draws most players in. The plot serves its purpose, but the real highlight here is the gameplay. The narrative elements are there if you're looking for them, but they take a back seat to the platforming and combat challenges. If you were hoping for deeper character development or a more gripping storyline, you might be left wanting more, but the action more than makes up for it. On the technical side, the DLC runs smoothly. There are a few minor frame rate drops during particularly intense sequences, but they're rare and don't break the flow of the game. Loading times are quick, which is a blessing when you're retrying sections or jumping back into the action after a break. I didn't encounter any major bugs, just a couple of minor glitches that didn't impact the overall experience. So, is Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown, Mask of Darkness worth your time? If you loved the base game and are craving more of its fast-paced platforming and combat, then yes, the DLC doesn't reinvent the wheel, but it adds enough new content and difficulty to make it a worthwhile addition. Just don't expect a deep narrative or dramatic shifts in gameplay. This is more about refining what was already great in the main game and giving players a new set of challenges to conquer. We give Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown, Mask of Darkness an 8 out of 10. It's a solid DLC with challenging gameplay and stunning visuals, even if the story doesn't leave a lasting impact. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.